Welcome to the channel, guys. I'm going to be doing something new. This series that I'm starting up is going to be geared to helping fellow reefers. So most of you have already been following me on my Instagram. There I ask a lot of questions through like my stories and through reels. And the other day I asked a question about what fish you'd want to have in your tank but don't think you could have. One of my followers responded with somewhat challenging fish for the size tank they have, and I thought, why not make a video explaining what you could do with that size tank, and kind of explain why I think you would go that route. So let's take a look and see what we could get done for this fellow reefer. I won't say their name, but this is a reefer from across the pond. And when I sent the message out just asking the community on what they would want to have, this reefer let me know that they have a 13.5 gallon nano tank, but they love, and keyword that they love, certain fish, including one, a Midas blenny, okay, a leopard wrasse. So far, you know you can't have those two in that size of a tank. But the third one, which was crazy, I'm not saying that they're gonna try to put this in that size tank, because I'm sure if they do, the tank police will be at their front door. But the third one is a yellow tank. So I'm gonna try to find fish based on three categories. One, having similar color to the fish that he likes. Two, having them within what I consider a reasonable price for a beginner. And three, somewhat reef safe, because most people who have a nano tank are going to want to have corals in there. So we want to make sure that the fish are at least somewhat reef compatible. You don't want to get a very nice looking fish and then end up not having any corals. First, let's start with the tail spot blenny. Tail spot blenny, again in the blenny family. This one will be a little bit more suited for that size tank. Just being at the minimum size aquarium that you need for this is around a 10 gallon. With this one, it's gonna be somewhat inexpensive, setting you back about $30. As you can see, they are herbivores and they are reef compatible, so that in my eye would be a nice fit if it is that you have a smaller tank such as a nano tank. Next, we're going to take a look at the Pictus blenny. This one I put in, even though it's not what I would consider a reasonable price blenny for a beginner hobbyist. This one is going to set you back about $120, but it doesn't need a big tank to survive, and that's why, plus also just the color that you'll see on it. Those are the two reasons why I'd put it on the list for this fellow hobbyist. Next, we're gonna go to the Hawaiian yellow tang. They're pretty hard to get, and of course, you know, there's no way for you to put a tang in that size tank. They will not survive that tank. They need a lot more space to swim around. They need that open real estate, and 13.5 gallon tank just does not have that type of real estate to do that. So for the Hawaiian yellow tang, the one fish that I thought of could also replace your blenny as well, just for that color. So that fish would be a yellow clown goby. A lot of times when I'm thinking about fish, I'll go back and forth thinking about either a blenny or a goby. Those are two that I normally go in between. But just how bright the yellow clown goby could be is a reason why I would say you could do that instead of a yellow tang. This fish needs a minimum size tank of 10 gallons. So it's right within that 13 and a half size that you're working with. And as you can see, it is reef compatible. Care level is easy. That's something also that you want to look for when you're getting newer fish, that the care is pretty easy. And care really relates to also their feeding. So some fish, their dietary needs are a little bit more severe or a little bit more specific. With those fish, the care levels might become a little bit moderate or difficult. Next, we're gonna go to the hardest one to find something to match, which is gonna be a ornate leopard wrasse. Bear in mind, he said just a leopard wrasse. He didn't specify. There's a couple options as it relates to leopard wrasse, but the reason why I chose the ornate leopard wrasse to put in the video, it's also a wrasse that I would like to have. I've had the opportunity to acquire them. They're not too expensive. I've just always played with the idea whether I want to put it in my tank or not. As you could see, this fish is expert only for a number of reasons. Even though it is somewhat peaceful, your leopard wrasse or just wrasse in general could have a lot of very specific needs. Like some wrasse, they need a sand bed to burrow in night. Some wrasse do jump, so that's something to consider whenever you're thinking about getting a wrasse. With this one, as you can see, it needs a 55-gallon minimum tank to grow or to survive. Someone might think that they could go ahead and get a dragonet or something of that sort to have that wild color. The reason why I wouldn't do a dragonet is, especially on that size tank, they do go through a lot of copepods. They eat pretty much all of your living organisms that reside in the sand. And with a tank that small, that's probably going to be breakfast for a fish like that. And so it wouldn't be nice to acquire a fish like that just to have them starve, because you don't have enough real estate for them to go and graze and eat. So my options to replace a fish like this, they won't be as colorful in terms of the patterns, but they do have some nice vibrant and bright colors. That would be your firefish. Firefish, you could get them pretty inexpensive. As you can see, this example right here is going to be running about $15. Care level easy. With firefish, most places will say that the minimum tank size is going to be 20 gallons. Depending on how occupied that 20-gallon is, or whatever size tank that you have would be, would determine whether you could put them in my opinion. Sometimes a 20-gallon might be so filled with live rock and just other things that the fish doesn't really have that much space to move around, versus someone could have a smaller tank with more swimmable space for the fish. And that is something to know when looking at them, because most of your firefish are going to need about 20 gallons. They are reef safe, they're pretty peaceful and pretty to have in your tank. You could see you have just a regular firefish right there. You could also go and get the exquisite firefish with a little bit more colors to it. That fish right there, I think, would make any tank kind of pop. And so hopefully I gave you some valid hopefully I gave you some valid examples of what you could use to put in your fish tank. I hope you find it very useful. I hope anyone watching it finds it useful. If it is that you have any questions, any ideas that you have for your tank, feel free to reach out to me. I'll leave my Instagram in the description box below so that you could go ahead, ask me any questions. I'll try to either answer them there, or I'll make a video like this so that I could answer the question for you, and also to help anyone else who might be in that same situation as you might be. So thank you for watching the video. Until next time, keep reefing.